So this is what we're going to fish with today, folks. This is a tiny fluke made by Zoom. It's a 3-inch bait, and I'm going to tell you, it is dynamite. When it comes to this river, here in the Tennessee River, it's a dynamite bait to throw. Anything, I hit it. Let's see how we got it rigged right here. Now, what I have right here, I'm gonna start off with a sow belly rod right here. This is 6.5 foot light action rod. And this is a Daiwa 2500 size Fago. And I have 8-pound test braid right here. My connection is a double uni knot, and this is 6-pound test fluorocarbon line, and I have about 8 or 9 feet of it on here. Now here it is. This is a 1/16 of an ounce jig head tied with a loop knot, and using this little fluke right here. And I have the tail dyed chartreuse. The reason why is because this bait looks just about exactly like the yellowtails in this river, or threadfin shad. So we're going to drop it down right here and let it go to the bottom. Now it's 18 feet of water. Normally this time of the year it's about 22 feet of water. So that's how low the water is. I mean, it's incredibly low. All right, it's on the bottom. Now all I'm going to do is pick it up and let it fall. Now, I'm able to fish with this 1/16 of an ounce jig head because, for one thing, there's not much current in here. There's a little bit of backflow, but not much. And I'm using 8-pound test braid, so which is real thin in diameter. So that enables me to be able to use this light jig head. Is plenty heavy enough. Now all I'm going to do is let it hit the bottom, pull it up a few inches, and just twitch it like that and let it go back to the bottom. I'm going to try that. A lot of times, if that don't work, I'll pick it up 2 or 3 feet and let it fall back. And usually when you get the strike, it'll be on the fall, especially working it this way. You'll see your line hop, or you'll feel a sharp little peck. And it could be any species of fish. There's no telling. But this bait right here, folks, I'm not kidding. I tell you, it falls just right. It's a lot better. Now, back in the old days, we used to use sassy shads. But this one right here, because it's streamlined, has a lot better fall, looks a lot natural. If you can look right here, imagine that it's on the bottom. If you can see that bait right there. Then I'll pick it up and watch the fall. It don't fall the same every time. And that's what makes this bait so effective, I think. I've been catching fish with this particular bait for years. What am I using to dye my tails? Well, let me show y'all real quick. Ooh, I just got a bite. Okay, it's called Spike It Dipping Glow. Now, I believe I bought this at Walmart. Chartreuse, well, that's to match the color of these threadfin shad. They have a yellow tail, and garlic scented. It don't have to be garlic scented, but I like it because it gives it a little bit of scent. There we go. That one's a little bit bigger. Yeah, look here. A little bit bigger, but not quite big enough. I want y'all to look how that fish eat that, though. Let's see if we can get a good shot of that. Now that's eating a bait, is it not? Okay, let's get her pliers. I ain't gonna stick my finger. Let's grab the hook, not the bait, but the hook. And that way you won't tear it up. Ain't that a pretty fish? Great practice though, setting the hook. I'm gonna break my good rod right here. I'm gonna have to put my bumpers on the other side of the boat. You can overwork a jig or you can underwork a jig. It just depends on the mood of the fish at the time. And that mood will change. It don't matter if you're fishing for crappie or if you're just fishing for anything. But it pays to pay attention to how you need to work a bait to get bites. And remember, most of the bites that you're going to get when you're vertical jigging like this, or even casting a bait like this, is going to be on the fall. A reflexive type strike. There he is. Oh my. This is a pretty good fish right here, folks. This is a nice one right here. Yep. Let's see if we can flip him in the boat here. Yep. Where we at? All right, he keeps. Let's put him in the bucket. All right, let's make us another cast right there, and we'll just work it real slow. That's what I was doing then, across the bottom. Now for Sauger, if you've never fished for them, it don't matter if you're vertical jigging or if you're casting, excuse me. They're both great methods, but if you're going to cast, make sure that you just pick it up, make little bitty hops like that, keeping it on the bottom, very close to the bottom. I mean, like right now it's on the bottom. You can hop it like that and let it fall back. But the secret to catching a lot of Sauger, I believe, by casting, is to keep that bait just as close to the bottom as you possibly can. It don't take a lot of action to finesse a bite out when it comes to Sauger. If they're just even just a little bit active, I catch a lot of fish like this. And a lot of times you won't even feel a Sauger. You can move it like this and let it go back to the bottom, and then when you go back to move it again, you can feel a weight on your rod tip. Just go ahead and set the hook. If you're in an area where you know there's not a lot of snags, well then you know it's a fish. They have a snapping type bite. When the bait finally hits the bottom, they'll snap it up, and they'll do it real quick. You won't even feel the strike, but a lot of times you'll feel the hop. It just depends on what mood they're in and how you're working the bait. There he is. There's a good fish, folks. That's a good one right here. My, I can't tell y'all how this one's pulling. Let's net him. That's going to be a keeper. My goodness, what a Sauger. That one right there is probably about 16 inches long. At least. Let's put him in the bucket. That's the way we do it right there. That's some good eating right there. Look how thick that back is on that fish. That's some good fillets. Now how I'm catching these fish is right now I'm vertical jigging and I'm working the bait sort of aggressively. I'm making them bite. Let's put them in the bucket. How do you fish that deep with such a light jig head? And usually I'll use a 1/16 of an ounce jig head, and there's a reason for that. Well, the reason why is because I use 8-pound braid. 8-pound braid is very, very thin, very thin. And using 8-pound braid and 6-pound test fluorocarbon leader, you can get by it with using a 1/16 that deep. or 1/8. But in this case, I used the 1/16 of an ounce without any trouble. And stayed in contact with the bottom, which is very important when it comes to sauger fishing. But I'm going to tell you what else is important. That loop knot in this jig is extremely important. That will get you a lot more bites, folks, during the course of the day. And another thing is really important, and I'm going to discuss that right now. When it comes to rigging these baits up on your jig head, any bait that you like, it don't have to be a zoom bait. There's a lot of them on the market that works and will work just as good as this bait right here. It's just that that one, it happens to be one of my favorites. Here's my jig box right here for jig heads. When it comes to the bigger ones, 1/16 all the way up to 3/8. And I basically do them all the same. This is the jig head that I used today, the 1/16 of an ounce. And this is how I rig them. Most of these jig heads come with a collar. A lot of people call them a collar. Some peak fishermen call them a keeper. And they come up down the shaft about anywhere from 1/3 to halfway. And it's just lead. I get rid of that. The reason is it will distort your plastic. Whatever's plastic that you use, folks, it will tear it up while rigging it. It'll get loose and it'll slip down on the hook set, causing you to miss a lot of fish, plus tearing up your baits. Baits are expensive. So what I do is cut that off. That's dental floss that I've used. I've wrapped around the shank of that hook. And what I do, and I've showed it several times on this channel, but it's very important that I do it again because the Lord has blessed me with a lot of subscribers, folks. It's just building every day. It's just a godsend. And I really appreciate it too. But the reason I do that is because it won't distort your plastic, whatever you're going to use. And once you rig it up straight, pull it back, excuse me, pull it back, and then put super glue of some sort, your favorite super glue on the dental floss, push it back up, and then adjust it straight. That will cause you to catch more fish. You're not hindered by the plastic slipping down. You did not distort your bait. It is in perfect true form. Therefore, when you pick it up, it'll fall back in a very enticing way. Let me put it that way to get that strike. There's fish. Fish is fighting. That fish is fighting. There's a keeper, folks. Another keeper. Let's put him in the bucket. We're mounting up some fish right now. I'm going to show y'all exactly how I'm catching these fish right here. I'll tell you what, these jig heads right here, these are called Crappie Pro jig heads. 1/16 of an ounce. And that hook right here isn't a normal hook. It's about like a Yamagatsu. Real sharp, has a small barb on it. Small in diameter. And I'm going to tell you, you talking about sticking some fish. Now, it'll stick them. But what I'm doing, let's make a cast out here. Once it hits the bottom, this is the way they're hitting. And it's the only way I can get them to bite right now. Okay, if we're going to get on the bottom. Okay. Okay, it's on the bottom. What I'm doing is picking it up slightly off the bottom and just doing this. Holding that jig in place. Well, it's moving a little bit. Up off the bottom 3-4 inches. And then letting it fall back like that. That's what's getting the strikes. So I'm keeping it in place, but I'm fishing it aggressive. There's one. Golly. These are mules, folks. Big old. Look here. I'm afraid to flip him in there. That was a 6-pound test. Fluorocarbon. Let's just go ahead and I've done flipped 1 or 2 in. But I don't know if I flipped them in that big or not. Look at there. That's a giant. You're talking about a lot of fun right here. And I've got the fish. I want y'all to look at the Sauger. Right there I've got 4 keeping Sauger and 7 of these white bass. And I'm fixing to have to go home and clean them. That's a lot of fish to clean. I'm going to fillet them, and me and Mama Sue is going to dine in tonight, I guarantee you. I want to say God bless each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for all the great comments. Everything y'all do for this channel. Oh, that's the fish I got to clean. Whoa. And remember, go fishing when you can, because it's good for you.